found unspeakable horror at the edge of the world. Something powerful and putrid displaced long away in the Alaskan snow, long buried in near plastic ice and cold, the likes of which is imperceivable to all who haven't experienced it against their own skin. I work alone, always, stationed as a winter caretaker at Lake Clark National Park in Alaska, where the low hills bleed into the mountains, their whitecaps barely edged against those towering earth mammoths, the natural groundswell of burgeoning land being borne upon itself. Here, I work diligently and for long hours to clear paths of snow, and to remove it from stagnating on public facilities, where it would grow into perpetuity until collapse would render the structures useless. My duty, as its instinct, is to provide peace and stability to an impossible place, the last bastion of human frontier in the brutal ice tundra and rock terrain. It's here where life itself is suffocated in swirling ice, where it's too cold to breathe or think or exist mostly, that I've found this thing. The unspeakable entity which has haunted me since, and begun, in time, to make me question the sanctity of images translated by my own mind. I cannot otherwise describe this menace. It moves beneath the snow, crawls, bores, digs, and snakes, just under my sightline, where I cannot fully perceive the like or makeup of its form. It seems to move, as best I can illustrate, with false limbs, phantom spider extremities that spew out oddly to its sides as it rushes through the snow, carrying along whatever disfigured form must make its body. I have never seen it fully. I doubt I ever will. There's something else about this creature. Something that, up to this point, I have failed to disclose. I've never seen it without being accompanied by a dead body. Some poor lost soul torn from a hiking trail miles away or near the bordering outskirts of Anchorage. It drags them hideously through the snow, inelegantly splayed out like broken marionettes, pulling them along to whatever horrible underdwelling it calls home. I believe that it lives under the lake, deep beneath those black waters, so vast an expanse that the waves actually break there, like the sea, even as the winter snow bears down like an animal and the mountains loom above and watch. It feels like its own world here, truly, and I often believe that it is. I think that's why I stay. I grew tired of the human experience. I grew tired of human life, the dull politics and illiterate fiends who dominated the social landscape, the social institution, the greed and avarice, the fickle and broken customs. I couldn't take it anymore. Not for a day, not for a minute. I had to get away. In some way, I feel like that world, but my former home, my family, my past life, is the true menace. The anxiety, the pressure, and constant untethering of who I really was. My wife, who after nearly 16 years had failed me so utterly by taking our children and moving away. She said that I had become a danger and with some time to think. She may have been correct. My drinking had become steady and debilitating over time, and I had once considered hitting my son. That was enough for me to leave. I never want to be like my father. I have, of course, discussed the nature of this obscene denizen to a few colleagues stationed around the park via radio. None of them have ever seen or heard the entity itself. They remarked in jest, I suppose, that I must be going mad in my near total isolation. They have never seen those bodies, with limbs broken and torn asunder, and faces frozen in wide panic, ripped through the snow as if they were sledding all wrong, and pulled under, always under, and into the quiet sea of a lake that I have come to watch each day in dread and fear. 2 days ago, something changed. It came for me. I was positioned a half mile out beyond my cabin, recording the temperature and length of snowfall when it came. I didn't hear anything at first, just the unbroken silence of cold and austere nature, the glorious peak of nothing where I could finally work and rest and be without expectation. The constant worries and needs of others, the pressures to build and provide, nurture. The sounds were horrible, breaking just above and separate from the screaming winds, a clicking, writhing, squelching noise as it moved beyond sight and carried something with it. I dared not look. I dared not move, for fear of alerting the creature. But it knew, and had always known, of my presence. I think it had just been waiting for this moment, waiting for me to see what it was carrying along. A body, just like it always did, something to take beneath that nightmare lake and bury there, under those crushing waves and ice, never to be seen or heard from ever again. It was carrying my wife and my 2 children, bundled together, horribly mutilated to the point that I could barely recognize them in the drab low light. It dawned on me then, and in mounting horror, that they had come to visit me, that she must have, over time, decided to come to find me and bring me home, had decided with my 2 lovely children to surprise me, show me the error of my petulance, and return me to the life I had once lived. It had caught them. It had caught them somewhere along the way, as my wife had come to save me. And killed them. Out there. Somewhere in the snow. It had brought them before me to show me itself, to make me look into those horribly afraid, always open eyes before it took me away, to be with them again under that frozen lake, finally, after all this time. I ran then, as the beast gave chase, hounding and following me up the winding path that I had memorized in my many months here, sprinting up, as always up, and away from that foul denizen which screeched in my mad victory just behind me, toying with me and swallowing my fear and anguish. Somehow I made it inside the cabin and threw the door shut with such animosity that it nearly tore from the frame. I've been inside for 2 days now, trapped. I can see it from my window when I gather the courage to pull back that curtain under the snow just outside. I can hear it calling my name, mocking the voice of my son, my wife, long gone. The radio won't work. It can't work. It is spirited away by the very expression of the creature, taunting and chiding me, drowned out beneath its dread bellows. It is waiting for me to leave. It refuses to go, not while it is holding my family, stacked together and dismembered just beyond the hearth, where I have lit a fire that I fear will not protect me. I cannot outlast it. I cannot take the quiet anymore. The knowledge that the unfeeling beast is just there, waiting for me to lose my mind. I'm beginning to break. The winds shriek and howl against my walls, and still I can hear it, speaking in that false voice, telling me what it did to them, how it pulled them from the road, took its time, ripped them apart at their joints. It is waiting for me to come to them, to come with them. It is waiting to take me to, when I am ready, beneath that foul lake, where all bad things must live. I cannot take it anymore. I am alone. And there is no way